gonna be quick today, so we're gonna be talking about 1%ers. And no, it's not the filthy rich, but the real 1%ers. Those people with special abilities that only a few can actually do. Abilities that can defy imagination or actually seem a bit more common than they actually are. Kinda like number 1. You got that ability, I salute ya. Stay tuned to find out what it is, and here are 20 things only 1% of people can do. Our first entry, raise one eyebrow. If you're a wrestling fan or have been a wrestling fan at one point in your life, chances are you've tried at least once to imitate the most electrifying man in all of entertainment and also tried to raise one eyebrow. Yes, it's kind of the Rock shtick for years. If you find yourself unable to do so, don't fret because you belong to the majority. A study conducted by Chris Code from the University of Sydney, and yes, somebody actually took the time and got paid to do a study on this thing, found that less than a quarter of the population can do it. Now sure, that's not 1%, but given the billions of people on Earth, if you can do it, you're one of the chosen few. Our next entry is bend your thumbs backwards. This is equally gross and amazing. If you find yourself able to bend your thumbs backwards, you got Hitchhiker's thumb. And if you got Hitchhiker's thumb, then it's a definite thing that somebody in your family has it too. You see, Hitchhiker's thumb is genetic and can be passed down for generations. No worries though if you or someone you know has this ability. It's never painful and doesn't have any adverse effects on the use of your hands. Our next entry is perfect pitch. Most of the musicals that I listen to are from the US. That's why I found it really surprising that only 14% of Americans have perfect pitch. Perfect pitch is the ability to sing any musical note at will. It can be acquired though, but it will take years of intense musical training. However, if you speak Mandarin, then you already got a leg up on everybody else. According to research done by one Professor Diana Dutch, 605 of Mandarin-speaking Chinese have this ability. She theorized that this is due to the fact that tones play a vital part in the Mandarin language. Our next entry is roar like a lion. You heard me right. Some people can actually make a roaring noise in their head by tensing their jaws or ears. Even weirder thing is, each and every one of us come fully equipped to do this ability. There's a small muscle in each of our ears called tensor tympani. Its purpose is to deaden sound usually when we're chewing. However, some of us have the unique ability to flex that muscle, and when they do, it causes an audible rumble that has been likened to a lion's roar. Or growl, really. Our next entry is never get a headache. Many things can give us a headache. Mine is whenever my dogs start barking in the middle of the night even though I told them to shut up. Otherwise, it can be caused by alcohol intake, stress, hormones, caffeine withdrawal, and a whole lot of other things. With the absolute multitude of things that can cause pain in our heads, it's easy to think that every one of us has had a headache at least once or twice. But oh, how wrong we are. The truth is, 5% of people will live out their lives without having a headache at least once. I kind of envy them, honestly. And at the same time, I kind of pity him as well. Agree with me or not, but one of the best things in the world is a head massage. Our next entry is soap dish. Do certain dishes taste like soap to you? If they do, don't go blaming the dishwasher just yet, especially if the dish you just ate has cilantro in it. Apparently, to some people, cilantro can taste exactly like soap. As it turns out, cilantro has a chemical that is also found as a byproduct in soap making. Most of us can't detect the taste, but somewhere in between 4 to 14% of people actually have the genes that can detect this taste. Our next entry is move your ears. This act is so trivial you can be forgiven for thinking that everybody could do it. But the fact is, only about a fifth of the world population can actually do it. More likely, actually, 22% can only move one ear at a time, and 18% can move both ears at the same time. People who have this ability use a weak vestigial muscle that we inherited from the common ancestor of cats and humans, and I didn't even know there was actually such a thing. Anyways, though, scientists say that this common ancestor was an animal that moved its ears freely just like cats do today. Our next entry is perfect undersea vision. If you're like me, then as soon as your face hits seawater, you immediately look like someone who's got pink eye. Understandable because of the high salt content of seawater, which does cause eye irritation. However, there are actually people that can keep their eyes open under seawater, see everything perfectly, but don't actually exhibit any of the effects of saltwater in their eyes. The even more amazing thing is that they're all children. The children of Thailand's Mokan tribes are the only people on Earth who have perfect undersea vision without any ill effects. While it is true that any child can be trained to see underwater the way Mokan kids do, non-Mokan kids will have their eyes reddened immediately by the salt water, and that tribe have no such issues. Our next entry is, hear your eyes move. Well, that sounds disturbing. Yeah, it sure sounds like something out of a straight horror movie, but this does happen to some people. While looking around, certain people hear their eyeballs rub against the muscles in their eye sockets, which again, that's pretty unnerving right there. This condition is called superior canal dehiscence syndrome, and aside from hearing your own eyes moving, it can also result into problems with hearing and balance. This condition is either so rare or more likely undiagnosed that it's impossible to estimate just how many people actually suffer from this condition. Our next entry is the preferred thumb. This entry is so highly specific that it's pretty awesome actually. When you clasp your hands together with your fingers interlocking, chances are you'll end up with your right thumb over your left thumb or vice versa. That's because when you do this action involuntarily, your dominant hand's thumbs will always fall on top of your less dominant hand's thumbs. Honestly, try doing it, but this time place your non-dominant thumb on top and you'll quickly feel it's pretty uncomfortable. If you don't, well, you belong to the 1% of people who have no preference for one or the other. Our next entry is deaf to thunder. It's pretty normal to see lightning, but never hear thunder. This just means that the lightning strike is too far away for the sound to reach our ears. However, if you're one of the only ones who can't hear the thunder, you better have yourself checked because you might have this condition. It's called reverse slope hearing loss, and it's the inability to hear low-frequency sounds. It's hard to determine how many people actually have this because those who don't actually realize that they hear differently from ones with normal hearing. If you can't hear thunder or even a fridge's hum, then you might have this condition. Our next entry is the tongue cloverleaf. Some people have the ability to curl their tongue into the shape of a cloverleaf. Personally, I don't know anybody who can actually do this. I mean, I can curl my own tongue, but apparently this is a pretty rare ability. In fact, 2 studies about it have been previously published. A study of 163 American female students discovered that 11 of them, or 6.7%, can actually do it. A separate study was also conducted, this time on both male and female Chinese students, and they found that none of them could actually do it. Our next entry is Gorlin sign. This phenomenon is very common to dogs. All of them can do it, and you could possibly do it too, if you're one of the 8 to 10% people gifted enough who can. But what exactly is it? Well, that's the ability to lick your own nose with your tongue. What possible use could people have for this ability? It beats me, actually. Heck, if you can think of one, park it down below in the comments. Our next entry is goosebumps at will. Experiencing goosebumps is a normal part of everyday life. The trigger can be physiological, like when you're feeling cold. It could also be emotional, like when you hear a song that you can strongly relate to. Heck, some can even say it can be caused by the paranormal, with your body developing goosebumps when a spirit or a ghost comes too close. No matter what the reason is, this reaction is often an involuntary process. However, researcher James Heathers has actually found 200 individuals who can burst into goosebumps at will. Our next entry is sneeze for the birdie. In the olden days, photographers would often say the phrase smile for the birdie before they took a photo. The phrase actually is instructing you to smile with your teeth showing, so what does that have to do with this entry? Absolutely nothing actually, except for the bright light of the camera flash. There's actually a condition called the photic sneeze reflex, and it affects between 18 to 35% of the world's population. This is a rare condition in which people start to sneeze when they look at bright lights. Bit random, I know, but kinda cool, I guess? Our next entry is a million more colors. Ordinarily, people have 3 retina cones in our eyes, which is more than enough for us to clearly see colors. However, some women have a condition called tetrachromacy and also have a 4th cone. This condition allows them to see and recognize 100 times more colors, around 99 million colors just to give you a ballpark figure. Only about 12% of women worldwide live with this condition, and nothing for men really. Our next entry is your music is sweet and your shirt sounds amazing. You ever heard of people who can hear colors and taste music? Well, there's actually a condition like that, and it's called synesthesia. It's a rare condition that only affects about 1 in every 200 people and also seems to mostly manifest in women and left-handed people as well. Our next entry is feel like a chimp. What are feet good for? From the top of my head, I can only think of a few things like walking, running, jumping, standing, normal everyday stuff. What about riding and trying to untie complex knots? Or heck, even use them to grip onto things like a chimp. Believe it or not, 8% of the adult population have super flexible feet, allowing them to do things that normal feet can't do. Now it's time for today's best pick. Today's pick looks uncomfortable as hell, so I guess it's best that I get on with it. What is it? We'll find out next with Stomach In. Yep, here's the photo. It's a woman taking the phrase stomach in to the next level. Honestly, that just looks really uncomfortable, but it's actually not a really uncommon talent. You can probably do it too if you felt like it, but should you? Well, it depends on who you ask. If you do a quick search on Google, you'll find articles that say it deprives you of oxygen and screws up your posture. Others say it makes you constipated and causes lower back pain. Apparently, it can even hurt your digestive organs. Others say it's just a harmless party trick. Personally, though, I'm gonna err on the side of caution. Also, did I say that it looks really uncomfortable? Before we move on, do me a favor. My analytics show that only about 15% of you watching are actually subscribed. Come on guys, what's up with that? Can you guys please hit the subscribe button? You guys watch my videos every day anyway, so you might as well subscribe and keep up to date with every video we put out. Our final entry is ambidexterity. Most people are right-handed, some people like me are left-handed. People say that lefties are pretty special. In fact, most of the world's recognized geniuses are left-handed. And then there's me. But we won't get into that. There does exist a special breed of men and women who are an elite group that I find even more amazing than lefties, that they're ambidextrous. Ambidextrous people can use both left and right hands with equal skill. Famous ambidextrous people include Leonardo da Vinci, who is reported to be able to write with his left hand and draw with his right hand simultaneously. If you're ambidextrous, then you are a real 1%er, because this amazing ability only shows up in 1% of the world's population. Do you have a skill that nobody else can do? Let us know down below in the comments. Also, make sure to check out the channel's other amazing videos. As always, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Later, everybody!